when you have the idea to insert an historical character in the script, was it in the script from the beginning or it came later?
Inserting the original story was about, it came about because I saw this house on this piece of property, and it was, set down in this ravine, and it, the idea of living out there in the middle of nowhere by yourself and not having anybody to call for help, that was what inspired the story. And so, original script, I wrote a story that was just a father and son, and then, the bad guy shows up, and it wasn't until a later draft that it was, we thought that would be a bigger sell, as, if we can insert a historical character. So it actually came after the fact, but it was easy to do because, this particular historical character is one of my favorites, and I've done a lot of deep diving into the conspiracies of his death. So it was great.
How did you get Stephen Dorff involved?
It's funny. Stephen actually moved to. I'm from Nashville, Tennessee, and I found out Stephen lives in Leapers Fork, which is like 30 minutes outside the city. So we reached out to him, and he's like, come get a beer with me in Leapers Fork, and let's talk and see if we get along. And so I think we talked for 3.5 hours that day and had a couple beers, and that was it. He always wanted to do a Western, and fell in love with the script, so it was amazing, and he on screen is he's spectacular, as you'll see if you watch it. It's like he comes alive on screen, and he's born to play that role. So.
And I found the cinematography really excellent. I would like to know, how did you work with your director of cinematography?
John Matashack, director of photography. We've been friends for a while. So when I had a show, he was my DP on the show, and we just we bonded from the minute we met. It's just we have very similar taste and style, and he elevates me where I'm down, and I elevate him. When we collaborate just really well. So. There's a lot of moments in the movie where John and I would just go sit out on the property for hours, days, and kind of just walk through shots and shot list everything. And so on the day on set, we'd go to film, and a lot of times, we'd do about 90% of our shot list, and the rest was like we would just find stuff in the moment, and we'd both get excited. And our AD would joke that we were like two kids in a candy store just giggling, and he'd be like, "Oh God, I have to change the schedule again," just because we started giggling, and we were really into something. So, fantastic DP. I hope he makes a million awards out of this. So.
Old Derry, of course, is a Western movie, but to me, when I saw the movie, I was really impressed by the story of a father and his son.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to know, how did you work on this aspect, on the script? Which was your goal to show how this relationship evolved?
Yeah. So I have two daughters. I have one's almost 14, one's should be 16 in a couple days. So it was easy to get into that relationship, because when I was a kid, you do things that you have these moments as a kid coming up where you do the wrong things, and when you have your own kids, you don't want them to make those same mistakes. So do you protect them, or do you just let them make the mistakes? And I think we all want to kind of protect them from the mistakes we made. And so, whether it's a father and son, or father and daughter, it's all the same story, and it's all the same parenting of trying to raise them the best you can. So.
I would like to know, which were your Western movie reference when you work on this movie?
That's good. I'll just shake with it. So references for the movie, Young Guns was of course one of my favorites growing up, and Tombstone and Open Range, but for the feel of this one, for the tone, it was really Hostiles and Assassination of Jesse James. Those were two that we, John and I, DP, John Matashack, we just powered through as many westerns as we could, but those were the two that really jumped out, and was a style and a tone that we loved. And I would say There Will Be Blood as well. That kind of just that dark, slower paced movie. So that's what we set out to do.
this movie, of course, is set at the beginning of the 20th century, but to me it's really actual because it's polarized between good and bad, which is a thing that is really connected to our society, to our present. I would like to know if you feel the same, if you, when you work at this movie, you had the feeling that you are working on something that people can relate to these days.
Absolutely. I think, especially with COVID now, we're all kind of shut in, and we're all kind of we're pulling away from being such an in-person society. Like, we don't shake hands anymore and things like that. So it is the idea of living out in the middle of nowhere, which that's what a lot of people are doing now, and kind of getting away from the technology and the rise of the world. And I think that, I think there is a relatability to that moment. And when you're out there, it is scary because you're you're all alone.
I think that Tim is absolutely amazing in this role, that he is born to play Western characters. I would like to know, how did you involve him, and how did you involve him as a producer?
Tim was amazing. I'll make it quick. Tim was amazing. Tim came on from the beginning. We had a FaceTime call and got along, and he was like, "Do you mind if I go through the script with you?" I was like, "Absolutely, let's do it." So we spent about a month, about 3 hours a day on the phone, just pouring through every old Western, every book, just kind of really getting the feel of his character. And he didn't sign his contract he worked for a month straight without signing his contract, so I knew he was in. And then he was there all the way through the end. He flew himself in for the final sound mix. Like, he was an amazing collaborator. Just an incredible human being. I loved working with him. So
thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.